is that first reading was Abraham with the mountain component. Can't help but think of his time with Isaac, because I was thinking about mountains have many meanings, and certainly if you said mountain to Isaac, he would think differently than, say, what Peter, James, and John experienced. He'd have a very different connotation to that moment. I was thinking of the Haitian proverb, Des monts gemons. Beyond mountains, there are mountains. Which is to say, it's challenge, man. You may solve this one, but more are coming. And it isn't designed to just be heavy. It's to say, you've survived other mountains, you can survive these. But mountains have a lot of meanings, a lot of different meanings. And in this one, Peter, James, and John get to glimpse something about Jesus that is so profound. And Peter, of course, goes in the wrong direction. Hey, let's build tents. Skenes in Greek. These aren't like camping tents with posts and rope and pegs. Skenes is more like tabernacles. Like, let's enshrine this. Let's live in the glory of this. To which Jesus really strongly, no. This is a mountaintop moment for you, but life is lived down the mountain. Just in case there was any confusion. And so we have these moments in our lives too. They can come from simple prayer. They can come from a powerful conversation with a friend that brings clarity or love. They can come from watching a newborn child just sleeping and kind of just plugging into that moment. Or maybe just a moment of silence that cuts out the noise. There's a lot of ways in which we have these glimpse moments for ourselves. And what they're designed to do is to sustain us. They're grace moments, and they're designed to sustain us through those valley moments of our lives. That's one of the things for Peter, James, and John that this moment was. That they saw it, they experienced it. They even kind of got it wrong in the moment, but were able to recover and go, oh, I see. And same for us. It's not that Lent is us striving to reach a mountaintop all the time. And it's not also trying to pretend that as Francis de Sales would say, the abjections of your life, the difficulties of your life, that they're just somehow something separate from God. On the contrary, that's where we should be bringing the light. To the kitchen, to our workplace, to the traffic, wherever it is that we need to bring it, to our own broken family situations, to illness, to grief, to sadness, to all of it, that we bring the light of God to those moments and say that God is present here too, and His grace can abound here too, as it always has and it always will. That's the space of mountaintop or the valleys of the mountains. Again, Francis once said, look, we've often heard the idea that when you're in the valleys, remember the mountains, right? When you're in a bad time, remember the good times. But Francis said, it's at least as important, if not more important, when you're in the mountains to remember the valleys, to kind of seek that connectedness that our life is both great moments and challenging moments. Not that the good moments belong to God and the bad moments are just out there on an island somewhere. And so that we look at our own Lent as an opportunity to reconnect to the reality of those moments in our lives. So that which is difficult and a struggle and sadness or glass half empty, and then all of the great and powerful moments as well. I couldn't help but think of the great prophet Hannah Montana. Do you remember her? There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm gonna wanna make it move. What's the next line? You looked at each other, you know this song. As soon as I started it. I'm a teacher, I will wait all day. Always gonna be, thank you, Nicole, always gonna be an uphill battle, and sometimes you're gonna have to lose. Doesn't matter how long it takes to get there or what's even on the other side. Brothers and sisters, oh gosh. Hannah would be so proud of us. And I know she didn't write it. But there's a power in those lines. There is always des aménagements. There's always going to be mountains. There's always going to be mountains. And in this Eucharist is the ultimate glimpse of what will be ours. Not just pie in the sky when you die, but the glory of God here on earth today. This is the invitation. I always think of them when he did this, that they were like, oh, okay. It's the reason that's what we always do when we get together, is to glimpse the glory, the grace of what we need to be able to take our sadness and our brokenness and all the things that we can't understand or fix in a moment and say, Lord, I give it back to you. And from the cross, he says, I got you. I got you. And so we continue our climb. We acknowledge great, powerful glimpse moments of grace in our lives and the difficulty. And we bring all of that to this sacrifice of this Mass, which is a mystical participation in the Mass, the sacrifice. We take a moment to prepare ourselves to bring it all, the highs and the lows, the goods, the bads, the joys and sorrows, and give it back to Jesus. May God be praised.